Hi everyone, I'm Chrissy B and welcome to my show, which is the only program out there dedicated to mental health and well-being. Today we're going to address a very difficult subject, one that many would rather not talk about, but we feel it's important to highlight it because of the many innocent people that are affected. We'll be speaking about children trapped in the care system. My real-life story, Chris Wilde, is here to speak about his book, Damaged, which is a heartbreaking story of kids trapped in Britain's broken care system. Now, Chris lost his dad at age 11 and was sent to live, grow and be nurtured in the care system, but he witnessed the incessant physical and sexual abuse of vulnerable children. Find out what happened to him and what he's doing to help others today. And Chris has actually come on with our resident autism news correspondent, Anna Kennedy, to give us some updates and also to highlight some of Chris's work. Also on the show today, we have our clinical psychologist, Dr. Nihara Krause, talking about the psychological effects being in care can have on a child and also how to help. Then it's tea, cake and positive news with correspondent Helena Shard in this week's A Helping of Happy. And we'll be featuring an extra special cake courtesy of Hummingbird Bakery. And we'll show you the latest school we visited to do the Mental Health Dance Challenge, which was Our Lady Catholic Primary School in Hitchin. And the children wore colourful clothes and did lots of freestyling for us, and even the teachers and parents got involved. Then fitness expert Natalia Katoska will be taking us through some simple and effective skipping techniques, and Dr. Rob Hicks will be answering your medical questions in this week's Doctor's Answers. And finally, nutritionist Severine Menem will be showing us a quick, healthy recipe. So let's get cracking with our first guests, Chris Wilde and Anna Kennedy. So welcome to the show, Chris and Anna.
Hello again.
Hello, thank you.
So before we speak to you, Chris, let's just get a quick update from Anna, because I know she's been super busy as usual. Anna, tell us what's been going on.
Yeah, well, we had our Brunel University Charity Expo, so lots of people there, professionals, parents, so that was fantastic. It's Autism Awareness Week this week, so we're very, very busy. We're so excited to be going to the Apple Store at Covent Garden, where 6 of our performers are going to be showcasing their talent in Covent Garden. And one other thing I just wanted to share, that I went to visit a group in Hull, and they were talking to me about, which obviously I get to hear about stuff like this on social media, but they're still, you know, public are still coming up to their children saying, oh, your son doesn't look autistic. Your son is too articulate to be autistic. Or I heard from a department of in social services said, oh, I know all about autism because I've watched Rain Man.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. So I just thought, oh dear, we've still got a long way to go. We've still got a lot to do. So, and one other thing is, I'm really proud to say that I'm now patron of Autism Anglia, and we're going to be doing a project on autism and homelessness because of that gentleman that I was telling you about. Yeah. And they've been sharing lots of stories with me, which are quite heartbreaking. So we've got a lot of work to do there as well.
Brilliant. And tell us how you know Chris here.
Well, I know Chris because our charity patron Stephen introduced me to Chris, and Chris has been to a few of our events, and yeah, he's just a really great guy, and he's got a good story to tell.
He is a great guy, and you've got quite a deep story actually, haven't you, Chris? Because you were in the care system and you witnessed quite some horrific things, really. But can you tell us how you ended up in the care system in the first place?
Yeah, of course. You know, I had a very normal working class upbringing, and one day my dad died of chickenpox, and then overnight, obviously, the blue skies of my happy youth turned an ominous dark grey, and my mom met an abusive man, and social services got involved. I found my solace in going out into the streets, gravitating towards other young men like myself who had suffered that kind of trauma. Got arrested a few times and ended up in a children's home. And that was kind of like, you know, the transition from having a normal, happy lifestyle, you know, over a period of 12 months and end up in the care sector.
It's quick.
Yeah, it was very quick. It was very quick. It wasn't, and I wasn't able to adjust to that kind of environment. You know, I was still grieving over my dad. But going into care, like I said, at first it was quite exciting because it was, you know, I was away from home, seeing my mom cry, mom drinking, my sister was traumatized, she'd met an abusive man. So going into that environment an escapism.
It seemed safe at first.
Yeah, it seemed, but that's the paradox of a children's home. You know, you're supposed to be safe, yet you're surrounded by danger. And it wasn't until I'd been there for a few weeks, but I actually saw, you know, the iniquities of life unveil itself. And yeah, I was one of the lucky ones. Fortunately for me, I wasn't kind of involved in the abuse. I wasn't that vulnerable. I was quite a tough kid. Yeah. So I was a bit of a liability to them, because obviously, you know, they prey on vulnerability. For me, I kept running away. The police kept bringing me back to the care home, and they didn't want that. They wanted that kind of secrecy. They didn't want any attention to the home. But I witnessed a lot of physical abuse, and yeah, I ended up running away. And before long, I lived on the streets for a short period of time.
So how did that, when you witnessed all of those things, because it wasn't just physical abuse, it was other things that you knew
it was
of,
archaic.
all sorts
it was
of stuff.
Archaic sexual abuse. I mean, from 1972 to 1996, over 1,000 young people were sexually abused in the care home of Skirky Lodge. Yeah, so. And you know, even now, you know, adults are trying to get justice for the abuse, which went, you know.
How did that affect you mentally?
Yeah, I mean, do you know what it is? I've lived a lot of my life with that guilt. Because when I wrote my book, I went back to find these people who were in the same care home as me at the time. And little things came back to me. I remember waking up like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and seeing the other 2 boys who was in my room, they weren't there. And I thought, oh, they must have just vanished. But then when I went back as an adult to do my investigation, I found out that these boys were taken out of the room. God. They were drugged up. They were taken to different parts of the house and severely abused by the paedophiles who run the organisation. Yeah.
Tell us about your book, actually, because you wrote a book called
Damaged. Yeah, it's a memoir of my life, but it's like a hero's journey. So it starts. The foundations are you know, happy foundations, and going through the care system, and how that part of my life kind of, you know, it guided, it motivated my life. But then from that, I managed to kind of, you know, everything I did, I go back to that time in life, being in care, then going off and you know, chasing my dreams basically, but going through like addiction, mental health problems, severe mental health problems in my 20s. But
this always, when you're on the streets?
And just obviously going back, everything what I'd witnessed in life, and just not being able to comprehend, you know, why me, you know, that kind of severe trauma of losing my dad, ending up in care, and then just feeling, you know, unwanted and isolated. And I suffered all the way from my 20s. It took me a long time to kind of get help and ask for help. I found solace in drugs, I found solace in alcohol. I lost my identity, and I didn't really get it back until I said one day, so you know what, this has happened to you, Chris. Own your trauma. Don't let your trauma own you. And I started to do that, and I started to get myself healthy and fit, because obviously mentally, you know, if you're not in that right frame of mind, then everything else physically cannot happen. So I got myself into a good position, healthy, fit, and I left those surroundings of my past, and that for me was a big move, getting out of Halifax. And finding, you know, a substitution, and just coming to terms with what's happened to me. I am a scrapper. We're survivors.
And through your journey, you also met quite a few quite vulnerable autistic kids.
I was going to ask about the connection, actually, because
well, I made a film called To Catch a Butterfly, and it's based on my experience, my first ever experience of a young boy who I went to school with who was autistic. Now, back then, so 1991, 92. I didn't really understand it, you know, and even the school really didn't understand it. And I remember this boy being severely abused, physically, violently abused. And when, as an adult, I thought, I need to do something to honor this young man. So I made this film about autism. I thought, you know what, I've been ignorant for many years. I want to go back and find out. I want to educate myself. And doing that, obviously, going back into the care system as a professional and seeing that there's so much lack of support for autistic people in the care sector, looked after children. You know, it's still not a diagnosis which people are familiar with. And so many different sectors of that. But you know, I am an ambassador of the underdog. You know, people with severe mental health problems, people who are autistic, and trying to give them that support and raise awareness within the care sector and getting them that right support, what they need and deserve.
It's just amazing how you've used such a negative situation to help others and to turn things around and to help others, because a lot of people just crumble.
I know it's
they don't see themselves ever kind of coming through something like that. And it's nice to have, it was great to have people on like you that actually show, well, you don't have to let it destroy you. You can actually use it in a positive way.
And I say that to everybody, you know, don't let your trauma take control. Own it. It belongs to you. You can be damaged goods. It's fine. but you own it, you know, you make it work, and you make something positive out of it, and that's the only thing you can do. I think
you've got to be in the right headspace, though, have you, at that time?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But that's why we do shows like this, to actually show people that even though you might be in a really, really low place, even thinking of ending it all, it's never too late.
No,
as long as you're alive, there's always hope.
Yeah, of course.
Wonderful, Chris. Thank you so much for coming on to share your story. All the best for the future. Anna, any final words?
What I'm getting more and more of is families asking me to share their stories, and that's what we've started doing now, and because no one's listening to them. So I say, write me a piece. So if you'd like to write me a piece, I'm quite happy to share it. So this is what I'm doing now. So
wonderful.
It's just to give parents a voice, because they feel like they just can't speak out.
But they will. I'm sure we're going to do something about it. Thank you so much, Anna.
Thank you.
And we'll see you again very soon. Yeah, definitely. Well, everybody, now it's time to talk to our clinical psychologist, Dr. Nihara Krause. Welcome to the show, Nihara.
Oh, lovely to be here. Thank you for inviting me
back. Lovely to have you here, my darling. So can you tell us about some of the effects on a person when being in care?
The effects of a person who has been in care are really quite huge. So first of all, what we have to think about is that when you get to care, you've already experienced potentially quite a lot of distressing experiences. But whatever they might be, when you get to care, one of the things that you have experienced is a disruption of a connection, a close attachment. And so children in particular, or young people who go into care, are really distressed by the lack of those connections, by a lack of those attachments. Also, because going into care can be very disruptive, and whilst you're in care, it can also be really disruptive. One of the things that again happens is that disruption in itself also creates quite a lot of difficulties in terms of your development, and that might be your emotional development, that might be your cognitive, your kind of intellectual development, and it actually can be also your physical development. So there's some research that shows that children who've been in care physically are often less well than children who haven't been. And the other thing, of course, because the whole experience is so distressing, children and young people in care experience a lot of anxiety and also a lot of depression. And again, research has shown that if you take something called cortisol, which is your sort of stress hormone, if you measure that, children in care have much higher levels of cortisol than children who haven't been. So the effects are quite multiple.
Wow. Now, obviously, we heard earlier a story about, unfortunately, a terrible experience that our guest had whilst in care because there was so much going on there and abuse of children. Obviously, there are some wonderful carers out there. We have to highlight the great ones there are out there. So as a responsible carer, how can you help those children?
I think the first step for a responsible carer is to create a safe environment, because if you think about the whole experience of being in care, it's felt so unsafe, that safety and security and how you provide that. So whether that is, you know, having stable routines, whether that is about having that stable carer, predictability, trying to minimize change, offering love. I think love and care is absolutely vital for children who have been, you know, really traumatized and have these attachments disrupted. Permitting them and allowing them to learn to trust again. And I think, yes, I think just sort of discussion and seeing that their behavior that they might present isn't because they're bad, but actually it's because they're distressed. And to be able to decode that and understand that.
Wonderful. And now as an adult, and if you have been in care and it has affected you, what can you do to help yourself, would you say, Nihara?
I would say that the first experience as an adult, and it might sound a little bit strange, is actually to grieve, because what you have experienced is multiple losses, whether it's the loss of being in a family, whether it's the loss of safety, whether it's the loss of friends. And so I think being open to feeling sad, to be able to grieve, is the first stage. The second is to recognize that, you know, if things have been traumatic, that to try and access some support to help with that trauma. to learn to build trust again, and that means being open to relationships, because one of the things that does happen when you are in care is you kind of think, I don't want people, I want to live an unpeopled life because people have let me down.
It doesn't work, does it?
It doesn't work.
Really
No,
doesn't
absolutely
work.
not. So it's about learning to do that, and part of that is about building your self-concept and your self-identity, because identity formation is one of the things that a lot of, again, people who've been in care want to search for, because they don't know where they come from, they don't know. So some will want to connect with their families or parents, and if you do that, one of the things I would say is be prepared either to accept loss again, because it might be that those parents don't necessarily want to form that connection, or in fact think about what it might be like to form that connection after so many years, because you might be bitter, you might be angry, so be prepared to face a whole load of distressing, difficult feelings. But ultimately, the reassurance is that you can recover. There's loads and loads of positive things that will come to you, whatever those experiences have been.
Wonderful. Yeah, I totally agree with you. You can recover from absolutely anything if you get the right kind of help and the right kind of support. Brilliant.
Absolutely.
Nihara, thank you so much, my darling. And
Thank you.
We'll see you again
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Well, everyone, after the break, news correspondent Helena Shard is back with this week's A Helping of Happy, bringing you positive news. And we'll also be featuring an extra special cake courtesy of Hummingbird Bakery. Plus, we'll show you the latest school we visited to do the Mental Health Dance Challenge, which was Our Lady Catholic Primary School in Hitchin. Now, the children wore really colourful clothes and did lots of freestyling for us, and even the teachers and parents got involved. So see you after this. Welcome back to today's Chrissy B Show, everybody, and now it's time for A Helping of Happy with the lovely Helena Shard. Welcome to the show, Helena.
Thanks, Chrissy.
And we are getting distracted today, aren't we? Yes, we have this lovely cake. We are featuring this extra special cake courtesy of Hummingbird Bakery. Now, this is a chocolate pinata cake, and just wait till you see what's inside. But before that, we're going to get the news from Helena. So tell us, Helena, what's going on?
So I'm going to begin with something that, if you have a really good idea and you're passionate about it and it's going to do a lot of good, then go for it and do it. And this is exactly what the lovely David Linton, who is a youth worker of 20 years, has achieved. Okay. He was absolutely heartbroken to learn that most children in care transport their worldly goods in black bin liners. So when they're moving from place to place, they're given these black bin liners, which is not so dignified, is it?
No.
So yeah, it's sad. So he had £480 to his name, and he founded a community interest project called Mad Lug. This was in 2015. Project based in Belfast, supporting 900,000 plus children in care. So it's essentially providing bags to children. So it's simple but good, huh? And basically you buy a bag and one's given for free. Okay. A really simple idea, amazingly transformational for the young children.
Wow.
Yeah, so really,
just
really
that extra bit of
and it's
dignity,
been,
I suppose,
yeah, it is, and it's
yeah.
been given national recognition, validation as a social enterprise, making such a big difference. Amazing. And he didn't know anything about business, he knew nothing about bags, and in fact all he had was bags of enthusiasm, which
really worked.
So that's just really lovely, isn't it?
I love these stories.
Yeah, so do I. They're just,
you always find lovely
good.
stories
I
for
know
us.
I do, and I really enjoy presenting them. So now a lovely story about a restaurant, Una Restaurant it's called, and it's a restaurant on Sheen Road in Richmond, Asian style tapas, quite delicious food. Just been open for just over 2 months, and Joe Wicks, who's known as the body coach, had talked about it. He'd walked past it with his family for the whole few months. Didn't want to go in because it seemed quite empty, and then actually looked in, and the owner, I think, actually smiled at him, and he thought, yeah, let's go in and try it. Anyway, absolutely the most amazing food. But the great thing about it is that he didn't want to ever judge a restaurant when it's empty, so that was a big learning curve.
I do that though. That's one of my things, like I won't go in
yeah,
if
you
it's
sort of
empty.
look and you think, oh, I know. But anyway, so he went in, the food was amazing, and he thought, I want this business to do well. Anyway, so the power of social media and obviously his kind heart, he put a shout out onto social media for people to dine at the restaurant. And that evening he snuck past, I think in his flip-flops, he ran past, and he actually filmed that so many people were in there, so it's completely full. So it's completely changed.
Well, that's a lesson for all of us, isn't it?
It's given the restaurant a huge chance now. So it's a really lovely story, isn't it?
That's nice.
And over to
talking
the cake.
about food, everybody.
cake.
Now it's time to cut the cake, and I'm going to allow Helena to do it today.
Oh, me!
Just a reminder that this is our extra special cake today, courtesy of Hummingbird Bakery, and it's a chocolate pinata cake. And Helena's just about to cut into it.
I'm going to cut into it.
Okay, so go ahead, Helena. Let's see what's inside. So just to let you guys know, the Hummingbird Bakery was opened in 2004 by Tariq Malouf on Portobello Road, and was the first bakery to introduce red velvet to London. But they also have lots of other different cakes. What's going on in there, Helena?
Something lovely and crunchy.
Shall I give you my plate?
Yeah.
So let's see what's inside.
Nice, big, chunky.
Oh wow, look, there's M&Ms inside, Helena. Oh, that looks so nice. Oh, look at that. That's lovely, jubbly. All right, guys, that's beautiful. So thanks again very much to Hummingbird. I will talk about... Actually, I have to taste a piece of this cake first.
It looks
Should we taste it, Helena?
I think
before I introduce our next bit. Okay. That is lovely, jubbly.
Oh, that is so chocolatey.
Very nice. Beautiful. And now I can't speak to tell you what's coming up after the break. Do you want to tell them, Helena? No? Okay, I'll tell them. So now we're going to take a look at one of the latest schools we visited to do the Mental Health Dance Challenge, which was Our Lady Catholic Primary School in Hitchin. So today, everyone, I'm here at Our Lady Catholic Primary School to continue with the MHD Challenge tour. So we've done loads of schools so far. We've spoken to over 2,000 children now, and our tour continues. So I'll be meeting Sharon Lawton inside, who is our MHD Challenge ambassador, and we're going to get involved today, not just with the children doing the dance, but also the teachers and the parents. So I'm really looking forward to it. It all starts with speaking to someone first of all, okay? So don't think that anything that you're going through now that's making you feel sad, don't think that you're the only person that's feeling that way. Don't think that you can never ever get better, that you can never be happy, because you can. All of you are very, very strong inside. And why do you think, Nihara, that it's important to discuss mental health and well-being with children?
I think it's really important to mental health well-being, emotional well-being is as important as physical well-being, as academic success. And I think it's really important to teach children from a young age what it means to keep themselves mentally healthy. And we have a big focus on that in the school prior to the mental health dance and obviously as part of it.
To the side, shake it up, ready to punch, 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 down, punch, 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 down, down, I'm a winner.
When I first heard about it and Kira got in touch with us at the day, she said, I watched the video and I thought, oh my word, have I got to do that? And then I've come along today and I'm so glad I did. I thought it was absolutely amazing. As a former head teacher for a period of time, and then in my new role as RE advisor, our children's mental well-being is so important, and schools are in a unique and a privileged position to be able to help to prevent any mental issues that may arise in later life, and also to promote that resilience. Kira mentioned resilience earlier, to promote that resilience in our children so that they can overcome any difficulties that they may face in the future in terms of their mental well-being. And it comes down, it's down to a whole school integrated approach that meets the individual needs of the children, and that clearly happens at Our Ladies, and it's just great to hear today is like a celebration of the great work that goes on a daily basis in the school.
Why do you think it's important for children to know about mental health and well-being?
I think it is very important because it's kind of almost like a taboo in society still, where kind of kids don't want to talk about it, people don't want to talk about it. And I think at this age, for children to be aware of this, of the problems around mental health and what it can actually do to you if you keep it inside, I think it is great. So as the message you guys gave today as to if you ever are suffering, always speak out and let someone know. I think that's a good start, and from then on, obviously, things can be dealt with at the right time.
So what do you think it is about the dance that, is good and helps people?
I think I personally as well, I'm a massive fan of the arts, of music and whatever, and I think it's just that little bit of release it gives to people as well.
How do you think you can use the MHD challenge and to move forward and keep the conversation going?
So I think obviously with Mental Health Week in May, we can revisit some of the things that we've already been looking at. In terms of the big focus at the moment, the next step for us as a school is to focus in on helping the children to settle their brain. So when they're feeling quite agitated, helping them to know how to calm down. So we have built in a little period of break every day at the end of play times, so that when children come back into the classroom, they've got that moment to settle.
Stop, stop, stop! Stop, stop, stop! Step back and point and way! Step and crush! Step and crush! Step and crush! Step and crush! Together! So I'm very, very happy to present the MHD Challenge Certificate of Completion to Our Lady Catholic Primary School. Well done! So everyone, we've completed another MHD Challenge on our tour. This one was absolutely fantastic. The teachers got involved, we had some parents, the kids loved the freestyling. Sharon, amazing today.
I know, it's wonderful. And we get to play on this amazing
I know!
Well, with Sharon, anytime we see some kiddies play things, we always come and have a go ourselves. It takes us back. It's good for our mental health and well-being.
Laughing is a good medicine.
It is. So everyone, we're going to see you at our next school where we continue the MHD Challenge tour. Woohoo! And shall we try and move? So thank you very much to everybody at Our Lady Catholic Primary School for doing such a great job with the MHD Challenge there. Well, after the break, fitness expert Natalia Kotovska will be taking us through some simple and effective skipping techniques, and Dr. Rob Hicks will be answering your medical questions, including this one. Is a one-off very heavy period anything to worry about? See what he has to say after this break. Hi, I'm Chrissy B, host of the UK's only TV programme dedicated to mental health and well-being, The Chrissy B Show, which airs on MyTV Sky 191 every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Follow our social media on YouTube, Instagram and Twitter at Chrissy B Show, and our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. For more information, visit chrissybshow.tv. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everybody. So now it's time for Doctor's Answers with Dr. Rob Hicks. Welcome to the show, Rob.
Hi, Chris. How are you doing?
I'm good. Lovely to have you back.
Nice to be back again.
So we have some questions for you today, Rob, as usual.
Thank
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so this person's saying, is a one-off, very heavy period anything to worry about? This has never happened before and it was quite scary. I had to change my clothes twice and have several showers during the day.
Yeah, scary, uncomfortable, distressing. Yeah. Thankfully, generally speaking, something like this isn't anything to worry about. particularly if it's not associated with any other symptoms.
Okay.
There are times, you know, when a woman's period will change. It might be a one-off, or it might change and then stay changed for no apparent reason, and that can be perfectly normal. It sometimes happens that the period gets lighter, or as you've experienced, the period gets heavier, and then you may find then the next period comes back to how it's always been for you. Sometimes actually it then changes as it's done now, and it continues to be like that, and it's just simply that this is something that happens, and often there's no underlying reason. The concern might be that there is an underlying reason. So, for example, that it's related to an infection, or it's related to a hormonal change, or it's related to stress, for example. So what I would suggest to you is that if, when your next period comes, it's heavy again, you have a checkup with your doctor. If you've got other symptoms, so for example, you've got any pain or any discharge from the vagina or any fever that came with this heavy period, then you should definitely get checked up with the doctor. The other thing is, if you're simply concerned and you'd like to have a checkup, then go ahead and do so. But generally speaking, a one-off event like this is usually nothing to be worried by.
Wonderful. And next question. I regularly check my stools after going to the toilet and noticed something quite unusual the other day. On my stools there appear to be some really dark, almost black patches. This only happened once. Could it have been due to something I ate? I remember eating quite a lot of beetroot that day.
You know what, this is such a good question, because most people don't turn around and check their stools when they've been to the toilet, and you'll only really notice changes
if you know what it looks like in the first place.
If you know what it looks like in the first place, but if you turn around and look. Yeah. So that's a very good first step. It could be down to you having a lot of beetroot. When people do eat a lot of beetroot, often it changes
red.
Yeah, red. Yeah. It's a darkish reddish colour of the stool. When you get darker changes like this, it's more often down to eating black or blue foods. So for example, licorice or blueberries.
Iron tablets can do the same.
Iron tablets, yeah. We're going to have to swap seats, aren't we? Iron tablets, yeah, absolutely.
I know about poo, don't I?
Iron supplements will make the poo, the stool, dark in colour as well. The other thing obviously might be of concern is that when it's actually the dark colour is because of blood, then it's because of blood that's happening higher up in the digestive system, so in the stomach, for example. So it might be bleeding from an ulcer in the stomach. It might be bleeding from inflammation of the stomach lining called gastritis, which people can get if they've had too much alcohol to drink, they've had too much spicy food, or if they're taking non-steroidal anti-inflammatory painkillers, because they can irritate the lining of the stomach. And this is why I would suggest that actually, unless you can categorically say that this was down to the beetroot, I think it's worthwhile getting it checked out, because the way to identify whether it's blood or not is to get a stool sample, a poo sample tested, and your doctor can sort that out for you. If you have other symptoms, so diarrhea, change in bowel habit, dizziness, vomiting, for example, any abdominal pain, then most certainly get it checked out. Or if you just simply want to be absolutely sure, I'd have it checked out with your doctor. But my gut feeling is what you said. It could well be the beetroot, but get checked out to be sure. Just
to be on the safe side. Rob, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And we'll see you again next time.
We'll swap next time.
Yes, I'll be Dr. Rob Hicks next time, and you can be the presenter. Is that all right?
I'll need a lot of makeup, I think.
All right, yeah. All right, wonderful. Thank you, Rob. So now it's time to go to Natalia Katoska, who's going to show us some simple and effective skipping techniques.
Hello guys, it's me Natalia Kotowska and Katie Whitworth Knight, your fitness instructor. Today I will present you very simple but effective exercise with this little equipment, skipping rope. You can take it everywhere with you. You can have it in your work environment, outside, when you walk your dog, you can go to the gym with that, you can do it at home, anywhere you would like. It's very simple, very effective. You can bring your heart rate up, you can burn a lot of calories. If you're a boxer like me, you do it all the time, every day. So, Simple technique. You always have to make sure that you have your elbows all the time tucked to your body. So stick your elbows to your core, to the side, somewhere around your hip level. Now using mainly your wrist, so you don't want to do the big rotation with your hands. It all comes from your wrist. You have your elbows all the time tucked in and using your wrist. You open your skipping rope and you go. One leg and then other, switching nicely. You can relax with that. If you're more advanced, you can do 2 legs at the same time. You can do double under. And then switch. Keep switching. You can mix it all up. You can do 1 leg, change to another leg. You can play with that and have a little bit of fun. Keep changing. You can do high knees to bring really your heart rate up. Speed up as fast as you can. Bring it all up. Lower, breathe in and breathe out. So you keep finishing your workout by lowering your knees and just keep skipping very naturally with normal rhythm. And that's it for the skipping. So remember, you can do as many minutes as you want. More you go for, better results you will get. Mix the tempo, mix the speed. Try to have fun with that because it's skipping rope, so it should remind you of your childhood when you just play around. And yeah, thank you so much for today, and I will see you next time.
Thank you very much to Natalia there. So after the break, we're joined by our resident nutritionist Severine Menem for a quick healthy recipe. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everybody. And now after all that cake, it's time to get healthy again. And we have our lovely nutritionist, Severine Menem, here with us to show us a lovely recipe. Hello, Severine.
Hi, Chrissy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
So we've been a bit naughty earlier because we did have some nice chocolate cake.
Was it good?
It was very good, but now we have to get healthy again. Yes. So can you tell us about what you're going to make and why you're making it?
Yes. So it's spring now, so we're going to make a very nice nutrient-dense salad.
Okay.
And by nutrients, I mean lots of vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients, so that we get everything we need to be like on top of our health.
Wonderful. Okay, so let's take it away then.
Yes. So what makes it super good is like because we have pretty much all the colors from the rainbow. You know, they say eat the rainbow, eat your 5 a day. And with this salad, I think you've got pretty much the rainbow and your 5 a day in just one dish. So let's start. And also, I wanted to make it very high in vitamin C, just to boost our immune system and also our skin. You know, it's spring, so we want to glow.
Yes.
And vitamin C is really good for the collagen and to have a very plump skin.
Make us look young again.
Exactly. Yes. So let's start with pepper, which is actually the vegetable which is the highest in vitamin C.
Would you like me to cut it while you speak?
Oh yeah, if you want to.
How do you want it, in little slices or?
As you wish. Actually, do you know why some peppers have 3 buds and other 4s? Because some are male peppers and other females.
Oh, so which ones are 3?
So today we've got a 3 one and 3 buds, so it's a male pepper.
It's a male pepper.
And they tend to be not as sweet, whereas the female pepper have...
Of course we're sweeter.
more seed, sweeter. So you tend to cook with male peppers and to use peppers raw when it's female
I didn't know that. That's fascinating. I will make sure I buy the 4 bottomed ones.
You should do salad.
For salads,
Yeah, the color is actually, you know, we have the yellow, the red and the green color.
Yeah.
And they tend to say, you know, that when they're unripe, they're green and then they turn yellow and then they're red when they're ripe. But actually, sometimes it just depends on the variety.
Okay.
So it's...
Now, this little bit inside, I normally eat that, but is it okay
I eat everything.
Right, yeah, me too. Okay. I don't like to waste anything. And the seeds are okay to eat if you want?
Exactly the same.
I eat seeds.
I eat them, but I don't mind. I think if nature gave us all this goody stuff,
it's for a reason, right?
It's for a reason, yes.
Okay. Sorry, I'm not a professional chef, everybody, so you know. Is that enough, or do you want some more?
Yeah, that's great, that's great.
Okay.
So next we are going to use radishes.
Radishes, okay. What
so
are these
radishes
good for?
are also super good in vitamin C.
Shall I just move these out of the way for us?
And yeah, if you want to. Okay. And the good stuff, and they're part of the bitter foods. And bitter foods are actually super good for the liver, because every time we eat, the food gets broken down into essential elements that we use for the body. But the side effect is that some of them turns nasty. I mean, we absorb the good stuff and then the rest turns nasty, and that's when we need to get rid of it.
Okay.
So all the bitter foods are usually really good to help the liver do the stuff. And also, so we've got here some red vegetable. This one is the white one. And the pink. It's a bit pink. Yeah, but it's considered as the white.
Okay, all right.
And actually, you know, all the phytonutrients, they are...
Is that enough?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
They are actually between the skin and the first layer. So if you cannot peel it, that's the best way to do it.
Okay.
So when you eat, when you buy organic, that's fine. When it's not organic, it's probably best sometimes to peel.
Okay.
Just like cucumber.
Right.
Let's move to cucumber. So cucumber, that's a very weird one. I used to think, before I studied nutrition, that cucumber was a bit of a waste of a vegetable, because, you know, it doesn't taste anything. Well, at least the one we bought here in the UK and in France as well. And it's just water. It's 95% water. So I thought, you know,
what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's really high in vitamin K and other few minerals, but it's like, you know, why? And actually, because it's so high in water, it's really good because it hydrates the body and helps with bowel movement. But something a bit counterintuitive is that it actually helps with water retention by drawing out the excess fluid from the body.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's very surprising, isn't it?
More cucumber for me then.
So you can get rid of excess weight either by eating it, or, you know, when you've got puffy eyes and you have these slices of cucumber. That's also the reason why.
Okay, I've just done the whole bit now.
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
So
what do you want me to cut next?
We have green vegetable here, and the next one are the broccoli.
Broccoli, okay.
So broccoli, we all know they're superfoods.
And it's okay to eat the broccoli raw?
Yes, that's the point I wanted to make. We tend to eat broccoli cooked or overcooked, but it's actually really good to eat the broccoli raw, because when we cook food, we kill a lot of vitamins and minerals, the ones that are sensitive to heat, such as B vitamins, vitamin C. And so when you don't cook them, well, you keep them. So it's a win-win situation.
Okay.
So you might not be used to it. It might take a while, but it's actually quite tasty. I like it.
I have actually had, I mean, I steamed broccoli. I love baking broccoli as well. I have had it raw, but sometimes I find I get bloated afterwards for some reason. I love it.
It's probably because you're not used to eating a lot of raw vegetable, and that's the issue. You know, when you're not used to, you tend to get bloated. So you have to go very slowly, incrementally to get that.
Okay.
Also, latest research show that actually, you know, we tend to eat only the florets of the broccoli, but most of the goodies tends to be in the stem.
Oh, yeah.
So now what I do is eating stem raw is a bit too crunchy for me, so I steam it and cut it in cubes, and that's fine.
Wonderful.
But when you eat a thunderstorm broccoli, you know, eat the stem as well.
Okay.
Okay, so next is grapes. I wanted a bit of a sweetness. And red grapes are very good because they have the antioxidant called resveratrol, which is the anti-aging
do we cut these or just leave them?
Yep,
in
half.
Okay.
And that's why, you know, red wine is so good for health. Obviously, in red wine there is the concentration of resveratrol is much higher, but I thought, you know, for today that's good enough.
Okay.
So that we have a bit of sweetness with the grapes and the peppers.
Squirting everywhere with grape juice, but never
you're
mind.
doing
It's good for
amazing.
us. Yeah,
so
I'm trying to go as fast as possible.
So here we've got a lot of fibers, a lot of raw vegetables and raw fruits, so that's good. So we've got 5 a day.
Sorry, just lost one. Great down, great down.
Good. So now we're going to add our proteins. So I picked sardines, our proteins, main source of protein.
Okay.
So now we all know that sardines are really high in omega-3, which is really good for the brain, inflammation, joints and so on. But do you know why sardines are also super good for?
No.
Okay, Sardines have bones, obviously, because they're fish.
Yeah.
And when you eat the bones, you eat the calcium from the bones.
Oh, very
So it's a very good source of calcium for those who don't don't eat dairy or intolerant to dairy.
Okay. So can these go straight in like this?
Yes, yeah, we can do that.
How many should I
obviously,
put?
it depends, on the size of the sardines and the bones. They're also really high in iron, and most women tend to like iron because of their periods. And last but not least, they're really high in selenium, iron, as you said, and iodine. And those three elements are really good to produce thyroid hormones.
Wow.
That's the hormones that
This
boost
really
the-
is a superfood salad, isn't it? Blimey.
It is a superfood, yeah. I wanted spring to be super good.
Yeah.
And the last bit is pumpkin seeds.
Okay.
So I like to add some seeds or nuts because they're fats and the protein, so they keep you full for longer, and they're good fats actually.
Just sprinkle it.
So yeah. So we're done with most of the salad. Next is dressing.
Ah, yes.
So dressing.
Okay, so let's move this out of the way.
Yeah, I will use this pot to emulsify.
What would you like, olive oil?
Olive oil. So we are going to use half of olive oil, half of acidic base with lemon.
Okay.
So I do the dressing. So, oops, didn't realize we were starting the battle. So I will use 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and then 2 tablespoons of lemon. So lemon again is super high in vitamin C. Usually all the citrus fruits are super high in vitamin C. Oops, lots of pips.
No worries.
I'll remove them later.
We can eat the pips, no problem.
So I wanted to do that. Yes, some mustard. So this is a recipe of my grandmother, and she's from Burgundy, and the Dijon mustard is actually from Burgundy, so that's why I'm using this. So it depends how spicy you want it, but I tend to have it quite spicy. So probably the equivalent of a teaspoon. And, oops, it gets super messy actually.
It's all right. We forgot to bring our tissues here, didn't we?
I forgot about garlic. So
the garlic.
Garlic is a super microbial food, but it's also really good for any cardiovascular disease. So it fluidifies the blood. And I have to say, in my family in France, they eat a lot of garlic.
Yeah.
And in the elderly, they got plenty of diseases, but nothing related to cardiovascular diseases. Probably because they were eating a lot of garlic. So I know for people eating raw garlic is a bit of an issue, but if you can.
I have no issue with it.
That's good then.
I mean, it's good when me and my hubby eat it at the same time, because then we don't smell it on each other. If I have garlic and he doesn't, not good, or the other way around. You can really smell it then, can't you? But if everyone has it, it's no problem.
Well, a tip as well is to prepare garlic in advance and to leave it for about 5 minutes to oxidize. It releases the enzyme that way, so it's
really? So it's not as potent?
If you use it before 5 minutes, it's not as potent. But
that's interesting. So we're learning all these tips and tricks today, Severine.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed them.
I think we've actually run out of time. Should we hurry up?
Okay, let's hurry up. Okay, so you can season with salt and pepper. We've got already sardines, so I don't think we need that much salt unless you want to.
Okay.
And pepper is also an antioxidant.
Pepper, which I don't have, but it's okay. Oh no, it's here. This pepper.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right. Sorry, guys, it's here. All right.
So it's good, and then a bit of a shake. Very quick. Yes.
Shake it. There we go.
So we're going to present it.
Would you like to plate it up?
Plate it up. Yeah. So let's quickly
give it a mix.
Give it a mix. Absolutely. Try to. Oops.
Doesn't that look lovely? Wow. Yeah, it really makes a difference when you've got all the colours, and it looks more appetizing as well, doesn't it? And
it's
exciting.
So important that your plate looks good.
It does.
Oops.
Big chunk of fish there. I didn't break up too much.
Let's keep the salmon fillet. Sardine fillet.
Yeah.
Really nice. Yeah, this way.
Lovely. Should we move out the way so we can see?
Yes.
All right, just a bit of the dressing.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yep. And that's how you do it.
Yes.
So is there a name for this salad?
No, you can name it.
The Severine Menem salad, of course. Definitely. Look at that. It looks amazing. Thank you so much, Severine.
You're very welcome.
A lovely salad to have for spring, as you said. Lots and lots of nutrients and all the other lovely stuff that you said.
Goodies, yes.
Everybody, thank you. We have reached the end of this segment, but please do join us again for another recipe very soon with one of our nutritionists. If you'd like more information, please visit our website, chrissybshow.tv. Scroll down and you'll find Severine's details there. But now it's time to head over to my thoughts of the day. Thank you very much to all my guests on today's program, especially Chris, who shared such a deep story with us and actually shows us that no matter what we go through, there is always light at the end of the tunnel. Actually, what I'd like to focus on today is that feeling that many people go through where they think that life is so bad, that you know, they can't come back from anything like that. And I know so many people that were in this situation where their life reached rock bottom, but there's always a choice. Sometimes people think the only choice is to do something really bad, like take their own life, or I don't know, start taking drugs because they just want to forget their problems, and obviously then things get even worse. But everyone has a choice at that point to actually make a decision to either just give up and just let whatever happened to them and they don't really care anymore. Not that they don't care, but they kind of give up on themselves. Or they can use what they've been through to actually turn everything around. And like I always say on this program, people don't realize how strong they actually are. People don't actually realize what they can achieve just by making a decision that they won't give up. Like I've said many times on this program, even though I went through so much in my life, but I never ever gave up hope. I always knew deep down that there was a solution, that there had to be a solution somewhere, that life wasn't meant to be this way. And that's also what our real life story mentioned earlier, because he said as well that, you know, he reached that point where he thought, you know what, I need to, yes, I've gone through trauma, I've gone through all of these things, but I can do something about this. And as you can see, Chris, the guest, myself, other people that have been on this show, now use their past, their stories to actually help inspire other people and actually show them that, look, no matter what you've been through, there's always hope. And like I always say, as long as you are breathing, as long as you are alive, there is always hope, no matter what you are going through. At times, it can be very scary because it feels like no one understands you, that there doesn't seem to be a solution. Of course, if you give up, you will never find that solution. But as long as you still believe in yourself and you believe that life can change, there is always a solution. And it just takes sometimes one piece of advice from someone or one place that you go to for help that can make all the difference. So never ever give up and always keep searching until you find that solution. Actually, if you'd like to know about how I found help, you can visit my personal website, which is mylifeafterdepression.com. Well, everyone, we have reached the end of today's program, but if you have a story that you would like to share, please do get in touch on info@chrissybshow.tv. You can also tweet or Instagram us @ChrissyBShow, or leave a message on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. Until next time, bye for now.